Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian Fromhertz, CEO of the Tribeca Trade Group, with your end of day recap for Tuesday. And I believe that's a new 52-week high, even though we've got this candle up here. I think for the SPX was a 52-week high. Maybe not. Maybe not. I did see a Bloomberg headline. I actually tweeted it out earlier that there was a new 52-week high. Nevertheless, we're right. We're basically right there. We're right there where we were on Friday, where we kind of turned around a bit. So basically pretty close to back to a breakout in S&P. Really nice activity today. I would say almost a full participation in terms of sectors and names that were moving higher today. Real good market breadth, I should say. So S&P up about 0.5%. Small caps up exactly the same. Go ahead and look at the small cap chart. And that also almost getting back to where we were on the highs of Friday before that kind of that sell-off in some names happened. Speaking of those particular names, the Qs continuing to kind of to claw back here. Looks like two hammer bars in a row. Kind of a little bit of strange price action, which I can give you a reason. I can always give you a reason for things, but Qs got going very early in the day. They were bid up pre-market, and then once the cash opening started right around 9:30, we started to see some selling, which is what we've been seeing the last couple of days here and there. So who knows? I tweeted out earlier that hey, the S&P rebalance is not over. I know they keep talking about rotation, and you see this all over the place. Oh, it's a rotation that's happening out of names. Again, a lot of this is very mechanical with the major S&P indices that are rebalancing on Friday. You have to sell the winners and you have to buy the losers just to reweight all of those S&P indices. We talked about that quite a bit yesterday. So that doesn't happen until Friday. So I continue to think that now probably the majority of that trade is over. Most of that trade is traded ahead of time. So Friday, it's actually reverses back on Friday, but that has not finished yet. So the fact that we actually rallied all the way into the open this morning and then sold off, I don't think should really be surprising. I think it'll diminish as we get towards the end of the week, but you also have quadruple witching. So people continue to kind of talk about rotation and I don't know what phrase they were using on CNBC yesterday, without really talking about any of the mechanics of what kind of happens this week. So I used to do this. This is what I used to do in my institutional career. I worked on a Delta One trading desk. I also did some time doing a lot of portfolio trading, so I know all the mechanics that are behind here. And I think it was a combination of things that caused volatility into textures. But again, I want to get into other things here. But we did see some areas of the market rebound. I put together, which I really like Kramer's idea of 15 names. 15 names that people would buy on a dip that really want to buy. I think he called it the Nifty 15, or people are talking about it. So I actually created an index based on those 15 names. I equally weighted it, except for the names that he said were interchangeable, which is Adobe and Autodesk, as well as Visa and MasterCard. And you can kind of see how they're performing. If you probably want to put a 20-day moving average on here, because we really didn't get a move back in these names, an equally weighted basket. But if you put together moving average 20-day, you could see that a little bit clearer that we basically. Can I zoom in here? Maybe I can't. But we basically came into the 20-day moving average. That was the dip, similar to the dip that we got a couple weeks ago, and are bouncing from here. So we don't know, for example, if all these names, we could go through one by one. I want to start with Amazon. A lot of names, they basically got back to the intraday high today, and kind of stalled out here a little bit. So does this mean anything? Probably not. Just like we had talked about Amazon and some of the names that sold off back here, yeah, Amazon recovered right away. But if you go back to the Qs, once we had that volatility, it took a little time for us to reclaim. So we really haven't reclaimed any of these major, not major moving averages, but shorter term moving averages. The 20 and the 5, that's next. But certainly we've come back. We made that low Monday morning, and we've been climbing back steadily thereafter. So if we look at some individual names, which I know people like to do, in terms of the momentum names, same thing with Amazon. I think two hammers in a row. So we're making progress. It will be interesting to see if we could power through here and get back above, or if it's going to get rejected here. So a little bit to be continued, I would say. But progress has been made. We're rallying into a little bit of resistance. I do like also that we rallied above the value area. So now this value area will be support, which was support, became resistance, and now support again. So for example, Google 966. And just as I mentioned, this week is quadruple witching and index rebalance. Just give it time. It's what I told some traders. Don't think that this market is going to recover that whole big red candle in one day. It usually doesn't happen that way. It's a process. Give it some time. So the fact that we rallied from the lows, the fact that we rallied a little bit into these moving averages, we've got another test ahead of ourselves, just like we had a test on Monday. So be patient, and then if we can't, have some support. So this is pretty easy using value areas. You could use same thing with Facebook. Facebook looks a little bit different, but I would probably use the bottom of value 148 for that one. Going back to Amazon, your support where would you be wrong playing the long side? Basically right around 969.88. That would be a failure back into the value area. So all this is very defined. We go over all these levels all these levels to watch, areas to basically put alerts to the upside and to the downside. We cover all this pre-market in the Tribeca trade room. That's the value that we add. We talk about setups. We had some really nice trade setups for today that we took advantage of. Yesterday we talked about Visa. Huge move back up 1.7%. Big call buying yesterday in Visa. Also UPS, another big winner for people. We talked about UPS. This chart is not dividend adjusted, but it reclaimed the 200-day moving average yesterday when you counter dividends. You could see that on Bloomberg if I were to use that. But also some follow-through activity in UPS. Keep in mind, if you look at this FedEx chart, FedEx has been breaking out. UPS has not. So a couple of really nice trades that we talked about in yesterday that worked out extremely well. The other observation that I keep coming up with is it seems like it's a different sector that is making a new high, like once a week. So we saw, for example, industrials, they made a high last Wednesday. We talked about materials. They made a new 52-week high again for not staples, materials, XLB. So this made a high on Friday. Look at this thing break out today. 1.3%. And then today, which I spotted early in the day, I think a lot of people were tweeting about it in the afternoon. We talked about it. You can look at my Twitter feed. We talked about it right in the morning because I've got alerts set. All of the housing stocks, new 52-week high. This is, again, between ITB and XHB, the two housing ETFs, ITB has 60% home builders. That has more concentrated home builders. Really nice price action. Toll had great earnings a couple weeks ago and kind of cooled off a bit. You kind of felt like this was gonna regroup and go higher. Same thing with Lennar. We saw a huge call buyer about 2 weeks ago, about a week and a half ago in Lennar. So new 52-week high in this one. What also caught my eye today, which is I am actually long and kind of been suffering the last couple days and adding to the position, is Home Depot. Really would be really interested. I'm already long, so I'm interested. But if this thing can get into value, which is 154.25, but that had the strength today. All of the home, not only the home builders, Pulte was another one that caught a nice home builder, nice call buyer today. Pulte Homes up 3%. So, this market has a lot of strength. So I know why I talked about some of the momentum names in the beginning of the video, because that's what everybody seems to be concentrated on. which I think is foolish because there's a lot of things that are going on and a lot of names that we're catching. Watching the tape every day and watching where the call buyers go into is certainly very, very unique and interesting in terms of the names and the variety of names that we're seeing call buying in today. So we do this on a daily basis. So go ahead and check us out, TribecaTradeGroup.com. And again, the morning session, we provide all of the setups that I feel could have some nice momentum to them. We talk about a recap of the day's activity, the previous day's activity, and names to play, names to watch. A couple names that I'll point out today: Starwood. This is another one of the travel names. This is a hotel name that saw repeat call activity. This name just unbelievable. Where is it? SGMS. I got out of my final piece of SGMS just because I was doing a little bit of house cleaning yesterday, and bam, this thing's up another 8%. Now, granted, this was a huge winner for us, SGMS, when we saw the calls go up about a week and a half ago. But man, oh man, new 52-week high. Same thing in a few other gaming names. Look at Penn. I dumped my last piece of Penn on Friday, and look at this thing also break out to a new 52-week high. So these gaming casino names continue to be really hot. Besides that, American Airlines, there was some good numbers out for JetBlue this morning, but we saw call buying yesterday in United and repeat call buying today in AAL. Cisco, we saw an early morning call buyer in that one. Neighbors, I have to actually update this because there was a late call buyer in this one. 20,000 Neighbors calls for today, and then a couple smaller trades that were of note as well today. So that's it for today's video. Have a great night. See you back Friday morning. Not Friday morning, Wednesday morning. Have a great night.